Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to your math book worksheet 5.1. We're just going to start back there. This may be something that you don't need to go back on, but we're just going to, just because I don't know where to go. And I know pretty much everything in front of that you understand you've done very well on. So we'll just start here and just see where it takes us, okay? All right, so today your assignment is going to be worksheet 5.1 front and back. Remember, I'm not going to grade it. Now, there may come a time where we come to the end of the chapter, and I may have you do all of that if I feel like you're good to go, and then we'll go from there. But if we're going to get to do Zoom every week and kind of go over your paperwork, that way I don't have to wait 3-4 weeks before I get your papers and you're continuing. So that's good. So I'll get to check your work as you're doing it. So I've put the first 4 problems from worksheet 5.1 up here on the screen. And I just kind of wanted to go over it with you and make sure we're on the same page with it. Now, like I said, we're going over fractions in this chapter. We're just going to start back over. And remember that fractions are less than 1, assuming the number on top is smaller. Okay, so let me give you an example. So we'll just say, we'll just take an easy one. We'll say half. Okay. This number, the numerator, remember I'm not going to write it, but it's numerator over denominator, okay? The denominator tells us the whole amount, okay? And then the numerator tells us, we'll put our fraction line, the numerator tells us how many, okay? How many from the whole, how many have been eaten, how many are left, how many were gone, or whatever it is. So this tells us like what's different about the whole, okay? Denominator, the whole. So here you've got 2 whole with 1 gone. So that's half. So that's what I'm saying. It's less than 1, okay? Now you can always have a fraction that equals 1, and that can be any number. I'm just going to put in. It could be any number you can dream of over itself. It could be 2 over 2. It could be 2,000 over 2,000. It could be 1 billion over 1 billion. It doesn't matter. That just means that the bottom number is the whole, and it's the whole number that's different. That means that it's 1, okay? So most fractions mean less than 1. Some fractions can mean 1. Other fractions can mean more than 1. And that's when they're improper. Like we're going to take 21 over 8. Okay? Now, also remember that, and I may be getting ahead of myself, but remember that this fraction bar means the same thing as, remember? It means the same thing as divided by. Okay? So this would be the same thing as saying 1 divided by 2. This would be the same as saying 2 divided by 2, or 21 divided by 8, or n divided by d. Okay, so that fraction bar means divided by. So let's do that. 21 divided by 8. That means that 21's in the box. 21 divided by 8. Okay, how many times does 8 go into 21? Whole times. 2 whole times. How many is left over? Well, that would be 16. So there'd be 5 left over. And then you have to use 5/8. So that means that this number, an improper fraction, means more than 1. Okay? Most fractions mean less than 1. Some mean 1. And some mean more than 1, if that makes sense. All right, so right over here, basically what we're doing on this one is we are just writing down the fractions from something in real life. For instance, if we finished 5 out of 20 math problems, remember the bottom number tells you the whole amount. Well, the whole amount of math problems were 20. And what's different about that whole number? Well, that you finished 5 out of 20. Okay, so that would be your answer. Now, just stop right there for just a second. I want to show you something a little bit further into this. Now, what if I said we had completed 5 out of 20, how many is left to do? 15 would be left to do. 15 out of 20 is left, right? Okay, 15 and 5 make 20, right? So that would equal 20 over 20. So that means that all comes out together. Okay, that's your answer, 5 out of 20. All right, having $30 toward a fundraising goal of $50. What's your whole amount? Your whole amount is $50. How many of that do you have? What's different about that? $30. Okay, so that says that we've got $30 towards our goal of 50 or 30 of 50. Okay, right here we're selling 80 out of 100 tickets. Our total number is 100. The different amount, the other set amount, whatever, what's different about that is 80. 80 out of 100. Okay, now right here, this is 76 buttons. That's all it says, but then it says hint. Remember, a whole number can be written as a fraction too. Okay, so we'll say if we have 76, that is how you write a whole number as a fraction. I think I've shown you this before, but I'm 46 years old. Okay, well I could say I'm 46 over 1. Okay, I'm not going to tell you how much I weigh, but I weigh whatever over 1. Okay, so any whole number over 1 equals itself. Does that make sense? All right, so now if you want to pause it and finish, you're going to finish E through J. When you turn it back on, I'll help you with the next section. Okay, let me go ahead and erase this board. Okay, so let's look at part 2, where it's talking about division. It says division in fractions. On A, B, C, and D, it says to rewrite these division problems as fractions. Okay, so on A, it gives us 3,072 divided by 256. Okay, and remember what divided by means in fraction form. It's the fraction bar. So this number goes here on top, divided by this number here. So it'd be 3,072 over 256. Okay, that's rewriting that as a fraction. Okay, on number 10, you've got 300, and then you got 150. Now, what's inside the box is being divided by. So 150 divided by 300. So your answer on that one would be 150 divided by 300. Okay. 11. Why did I say 11? 9, 10, 11. Why am I writing number 9? Oh, that's supposed to be A. That's B, and that's C. Okay, so this will be 60 and 30. This is 30 divided by 60. So you'd write it like this. It's the same thing. 30 divided by 60. Okay. All right, then you can go ahead and do D, and then I'll help you with number 3. Okay, on number 3, it says complete the division in problem 1F to find the monthly salary. So we're going to go back up to 1F, and that was dividing a yearly salary of $10,680 to find the monthly salary. Okay, now remember, we're going to take 10,000, we're going to take the yearly salary, and we're going to divide it by what to get the monthly salary? 12, because there's 12 months in a year. So let's do this problem. Okay, 12 does not go into 10, but it goes into 106. I would say, I'm going to change my color. I would say 8 times, because 9 times would be 108, so I have to be that. So 8 and 2, that's 16. So this would be 96. 12 times 8 is 96. 106 minus 96, actually, I don't know why I wrote that there. It'd be 96. I don't know why I did that. So 106 minus 96 gives you 10. Bring down your 8. Here we have 108. 12 into 108. We already know what that is. It's going to be 9. Because 12 times 9 is 108. Bring down our 0. And then, of course, we just have to have a filler here. So the monthly salary is $890. That's going to be on 3A. Make sense? Okay. So you should be able to do the division on the back of the page on B, C, and D. You should be able to do those division problems. So I would like for you to go ahead and pause this while you do those, then turn it back on and I'll help you with the rest of it. Okay, so we'll look then at the term time on number 4. So on A, it says to circle the numerators in your answers to problems 1A and 1B. Remember, the top number on your fraction is the numerator, so you'll circle the top numbers. Then on B, it says to look at the problems in numbers 1A through 1J. That's all of them on 1. Put a star next to all of them that we would call improper fractions. We were talking about proper things in grammar earlier today, so the same thing is true in math. So improper is where the number on top is bigger, and so therefore the fraction equals more than 1. So any of those fractions on number 1, if they ended up being improper, put a star next to them. On letter C, it says to write in words 3 ways to read the fraction you wrote in problem 1C. So in 1C, it was 80 out of 100. So the 3 different ways to write it would be 80 100ths would be one way you would say it. Let's see, another way you would say it would be 80 over 100. The other way you would say it is 80 divided by 100. Now, if you can't remember all those different ways that we're supposed to say things, if you look in your book, your other book, on page 112, it tells you how to say it and how different ways they want you to say fractions. So anyway, all right, and then you'll do the same thing on D. But before you do that, on letter E, it wants to know if 0 is a whole number in this particular math course. The answer is no, it is not considered a whole number. Some math courses consider it that way, but this math course does not. Okay, now on 5A, what is a notation? And then what are 3 ways of looking at fractions? The answers to these are going to be in your book on section 5, pages 110, 111, and 112. But it just wants you to write the definition. And I'm not going to read it to you. It's in your book on page 110. So you'll need to write those down. Now, on the skill sharpening, if you'd like to finish the others, you can pause this anytime you get ready. Okay, on the skill sharpening, we're going to be using the distributive property. So let me remind you how to do that. Now, remember, we always do what's in parentheses first, which would be this here. Okay, so 92 plus 5. Well, no, let me rephrase. I'm sorry. Yes, we do. I'm forgetting where I'm going. We always do what's in parentheses first, but not when we do the distributive property. The distributive property means we distribute. So whenever you have a number that's right next to a parentheses like this on the outside of the parentheses, that means times. So we're going to take 42 times 5, and we get, I have no idea. We get 210. Okay, so 42 times 5 is 210. This is plus, we'll bring that down. And then we're going to distribute again. We're going to take 42 times 92, because remember, this means times. So 42 times 92. $3,864, and then you'll add these up, and that will be the answer using the distributive property. Now I'd like for you to do the same thing on letter B, okay? All right, and you can set this aside, and we'll go over the answers on this on Friday.